Okay, so now we're going to be going through the ending of this game now.
So technically we've finished everything gameplay-wise.
Yeah, it's just the ending.
This is just the ending now.
Yeah, it's going to go on for about half an hour or so.
That's fine, that's perfect sort of time and length and stuff. Some people say it's too much, but I think it's fine.
So what are you going to do now? Go back to the KGB?
What do you want me to do?
Did you ever think about coming back to America?
I can't go back. I've left America behind me.
But you saved this country.
I didn't do it alone.
And I still owe you a dinner.
Is that part of your mission too? Or is it an order? Or is it an invitation? Or a proposal? I don't take orders from anyone now.
And here's where people start complaining about the content of the game.
Yes, even though this game was rated 15, and in other countries, 17, 18.
Yeah, but you know, anything like this, people complain.
Honestly, why would they? If it's two people falling in love, it's natural.
Because they're not showing anything! Even though you see her boobs, they're covered with a bra. Fuck off, Zero. Oh, it's not Zero. Was that Zero?
Could have been someone else.
Yeah, well, fuck off, Zero, there. I'm just going to say it. I don't care if it's not him. Fuck off, Zero. They're not even kissing if you look carefully enough. But then again, you know, even for PS2 standards, this is still pretty good looking. You can only do so much.
Limitations.
Yes. Oh, how many drinks did I have last night?
Well, 2 bottles. That answers your question.
That's one hell of a hangover.
Scholars tell us that the first spy in history was the snake in the book of Genesis. In that story, it was Eve who was tempted by the snake in the Garden of Eden. But this time around, it was I who tempted the snake and got away with the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Forgive me, snake.
So, wait, she was a spy?
Yes. You find out what happens.
Oh
If you pay attention,
God!
If you pay attention, it explains what happened.
Good morning, Snake. I hope you slept well. First of all, I have to apologize. I wasn't sent by Khrushchev. I'm not a KGB spy, and I never worked for the NSA. I'm an agent of the People's Republic of China for the General HQ 2nd Department of the People's Liberation Army. It was all a lie. I tricked you. And I'm sorry. The philosophers still exist in China, too. You see, my mission was to find out where Volgan was hiding the philosopher's legacy and steal it. So I infiltrated his base as a KGB spy. The 2 NSA codebreakers who defected in 1960 were actually both men. The real Adam never showed up at the meeting place, saving me the trouble of having to eliminate him. I sneaked in by pretending I was Eva. And you and Sokolov and Volgan, you all believed me. The philosopher's legacy was originally held in common between the US, Soviet Union, and China. We couldn't let the Russians and the Americans take it all for themselves. The Chinese government had its eye on the legacy, too. I got the film containing the legacy, and also the nuclear missile launch data from the Shagohod. 5 years ago, the Soviet Union stopped supplying us with nuclear weapons technology. Since then, China's Liaodong easing, hydrogen bomb, and space rocket projects have fallen behind. But with this data, our country will be able to develop its own nukes. We'll create a deterrent force to rival those of the US and Soviet Union. Everything has gone according to plan, thanks to your help. I, too, am one of the philosophers. I'm an agent of the philosophers, a graduate of one of their charm schools. I was raised in a joint US-Soviet-Chinese facility to become a sleeper agent. This was before the war. Back then, they were collecting children from all over the world. As a result, I'm indistinguishable from a native-born American. So it didn't surprise me when you and Volgan couldn't tell the difference. But she knew right from the beginning. She knew because before the war, she was at one of the philosopher's schools too, as an instructor. The boss was the only one I couldn't fool. She was the only one who knew I was a fake. She told me everything. Why did she open her heart to me like that? At the time, I couldn't understand it. But now, I think I do. Snake. She wanted you to know the truth. She chose me to tell you. That's why she saved my life. I've lied to you so many times, but not this time. My orders from the government were to obtain the legacy and to eliminate everyone who knew the truth about what happened. In other words, I'm supposed to kill you. But I can't do it. Not because we loved each other. And not because you saved my life. But because I made a promise to the boss. And I intend to keep it. I just wanted you to know. And you have to live. Snake, listen to me. She didn't betray the United States. No, far from it. She was a hero who died for her country. She carried out her mission knowing full well what was going to happen. Self-sacrifice. Because that was her duty.
You are above even the boss. I hereby award you the title of Big Boss. You are a true patriot.
I didn't know that.
You can do that in some cutscenes.
You know, we could use an infiltration unit like Fox in the Army. Someone like him to handle our top secret sneaking missions for us. A man who combines the qualities of a soldier and an agent.
The boss's defection was a ruse set up by the U.S. government. It was all a big drama staged by Washington so they could get their hands on the philosopher's legacy. And the boss was the star of the show. They planned it so that they could get the legacy that Colonel Volgin inherited and destroy the Shagohod at the same time. Only a legendary hero like the boss could have earned Volgin's trust. Finding out where the philosopher's legacy was hidden was to be her greatest mission. Everything was going according to plan. But then something happened that no one could have predicted. Colonel Volgin fired an American-made nuclear warhead at Sokolov's research facility. Khrushchev demanded that the U.S. government provide proof that it wasn't involved. They couldn't just abort the operation to steal the legacy. So the operation itself was greatly expanded and revised. The authorities in Washington knew that in order to prove its innocence, they'd have to get rid of the boss, and that one of their own would have to do the job. The public couldn't be allowed to find out about it. Not ever. This, they concluded, would be the best way to keep the whole thing under wraps. The boss wouldnwouldn't be allowed to come back home alive, and she wouldn't be allowed to kill herself. Her life would be ended by her most beloved disciple. That was the way the government wanted it. That was the mission she was given, and she had no choice but to carry it out. Her death at your hands was a duty she had to fulfill. Out of duty, she turned her back on her own comrades. A lesser woman would have been crushed by such a burden. The taint of disgrace will follow her to her grave. Future generations will revile her. In America as a despicable traitor with no sense of honor. And in Russia as a monster who unleashed a nuclear catastrophe. She will go down in official history as a war criminal. And no one will ever understand her. That was her final mission. And like a true soldier, she saw it through to the end. But I think she wanted you, of all people, to know the truth. She wanted to live on in your memory. Not as a soldier, but as a woman. But she was forbidden to tell you herself. And that's why she told me. Snake, history will never know what she did. No one will ever learn the truth. Her story, her debriefing, will endure only in your She did. She did for her country. She sacrificed her life and her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's the game, is it?
Yep.
Wow. What an ending.
Well, you should listen to the music when you watch ending as well.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me that it would be very fitting. So this is what happens in between Metal Gear Solid, 3 and the events of 1 and 2.
Yes. And at the very end of it, it tells you that's when Solid Snake and Liquid Snake were born.
Okay. We all know about the Les Enfants Terribles project because that's how Solid and Liquid are born. But yeah,
That's the end of Metal Gear Solid 3.
we're finally done.
Yep. Yeah.
Now that the credits are obviously about to roll, I suppose this is the time when we would sum up our thoughts. So, would you care to go first?
Well, my thoughts. Me personally, I love this game. I think it's one of my favourite Metal Gear Solid games. I absolutely love the storyline, the characters, the setting, the atmosphere, the soundtrack. It's one of the easiest Metal Gear Solid games that you can follow because it was a prequel to the entire series. I do think MGS3 has one of the most emotional endings of any game I've ever played. Back when I first played it, back in 2004. I was pretty moved by it, actually. And, I love the boss battles, I just absolutely love this game, I adore it. I enjoyed it more than Metal Gear Solid 2, personally, and I think it's one of the best looking games on the PlayStation 2, and I just adore it, so that's all I have to say.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, I like it more than MGS2 in every category, in every single way.
So as an MGS game, you would recommend this above all of them?
Yes, because the reason I recommend this one is because since this is the prequel to the entire series, it's one of the easiest games you can follow, so if anyone were new to the series, I would say that if you were new to the franchise, I'd recommend playing 1 and 3, though.
Yeah.
1 and 3 is the ones I recommend. If I recommend you 2 and 4, you're going to be all confused.
Right, it's okay to play 2 and 4 but 1 and 3 are the easiest stories to follow if you're just looking to get into the series.
Yeah, like Dalton said in MGS5.
Yes. Well, I have to say that, it has probably, in terms of...
And actually, a lot of people do say that this is their favourite Metal Gear game in the entire series, and it's a lot of fans' favourite, so, yeah.
I was going to say, the story seemed really emotional and also easy to follow. I never found at any point I was, questioning things too much or, looking into things and just misreading anything or anything like that. It was simple to follow. And, the characterization, the relationships they had, the ending in particular, all very moving, all very believable, and I can totally see where you're coming from when you say that you find, Big Boss to be more relatable as a character than Solid Snake. I completely see where you're coming from.
And me personally, I think he's a bit more likeable than Snake.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know that you've mentioned that a few times before. Graphically, I've said it before, this is a PS2 game. I mean, yeah, you're playing it on the PS3, and it is upscaled in HD, but this was a PS2 game, and this is how good it looked. It was one of the best looking PS2 games, and honestly, it's gorgeous. I honestly, I can't lie, it's beautiful. And the soundtrack, I have actually taken time out to sit down and listen to a few of the pieces of music in the game. Lovely soundtrack, really good to listen to. I still haven't played it properly, but from what I have played, it's fun. It's really good.
AI was perfected.
Yes.
Camera angles are great, especially the subsistence one.
Yeah.
The variety you've got with the game.
Yeah.
The level design.
Yes, I especially like the amount of choices that you have. Particularly in things like, say, the end. You have so many choices of how you want to go about that. Do you want to kill him and get him out of the way and just face soldiers, or do you want to actually fight him? Or
boss battles are great.
Yeah.
Boss battles are quite unique.
Yeah. I mean, there was the odd couple.
That were too easy.
No, yeah, they're easy, but there was one or two that gave very reminiscent of bosses in previous games. I mentioned in a much earlier part. Ocelot's fight reminds me of Olga's fight in Metal Gear Solid 2. Not much more I can say other than that. I will say that we didn't hear a lot of it, but Paramedic talks about all kinds of films. Can you run off a list of what other films she talks about?
Well, she talks about James Bond, she talks about Godzilla, she talks about a lot of horror films, and you have to look it up on the internet and look at the Easter eggs, because those are the ones I can remember at the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, this game has a lot of replay value as well, because you can keep all the outfits and face paints that you've acquired. You can unlock new weapons, there's the stealth camouflage, it still has the infinite ammo, it still has the camera and all that, so this game has a lot of replayability as well.
Okay. So yeah, we're finally done with Metal Gear Solid 3. We're going to be taking a brief break from Metal Gear Solid for the next game, and we're going to be playing something, co-op, but not co-op. It's a single-player game, but we're taking turns with levels. It's a game we both grew up with.
And we both love. Not so much with the sequels personally, but I do love the first one.
Yes. I will give you a hint, it's a PlayStation game.
Yes.
Let's just say that, for another hint, there's a little mini game in this game, based off of it. Giving lots of throwbacks, etc. to it. So there's that as well.
Yeah, so this is MGS3.
This was MGS3.
Yeah, this was MGS3.
Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
Yes,
and enduring our bullshit.
The research
Yes.
facility have both been wiped out without a trace. I understand, sir, but they were necessary sacrifices. Yes, the CIA has taken care of the boss themselves. I believe the White House will be satisfied. Khrushchev is finished. Your time has finally arrived. Yes, the American president is relying on us to keep a lid on the whole affair. We've got him by the balls. It should make a valuable trump card in future negotiations. Yes, Chief Director, of course. I'll keep the KGB informed.
Dial in the number like Chevy. Dum.
Yes, it's me. The boss has accomplished her mission. The philosopher's legacy is now safely with us, in America's hands. With this money, yes, the philosophers can finally be revived. The film we handed the Chinese was a fake. Peking must be in an uproar right about now. I'm afraid so. Only half the money has made it back to the United States. The KGB must still have part of the legacy. Yes, the weapon has been reduced to ashes. That's right. Grozny Grad has been obliterated by the Davy Crockett we brought in as well. Yes, that was the boss's work too. Speaking of which, I've obtained something from Granin that you might find interesting. It's a revolutionary new nuclear attack system. Perhaps it might just come in handy someday. Yes, we have Snake to thank for that. Khrushchev believed it as well. Yes, they bought our story. I don't think they'll be making a fuss. The secondary alert has been lifted as well. And the Soviets still haven't discovered my true identity. They have no idea that I've been triple-crossing them. I will continue my activities as a contact for the new government. Yes, it appears that no one knew that I was Adam. Of course, I'm always at the CIA's disposal, Mr. Director.
Oh, so... Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching our bitching.
Yep.
We now know that Ocelot was Adam all along. A little toe rag.
One of the code breakers. And how... yeah. So, played this game on normal, and 8 hours and 46 minutes, 10 saves, 4 continues, 30 alert phases, 181 people killed.
You murderer.
Yes. Seriously injured 20 times. Total damage, 6 life bars. Medical, life medicine used 3 times. Plants and animals captured, 14. Meals eaten, 9. Special items not used. My codename's a Bat. Cool.
You're the Batman.
Yes.
So, with that being said, thank you guys very much for watching us. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun doing this.
Yep.
I know others probably did.
I just certainly did.
And with that being said, stay tuned for our next Let's Play.
Yep.
It should be a good one.
Should be a good.
Especially if we're taking turns.
Yes. I'm doing the first level.
Damn you!